Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! And they are back on terms!
Hello and welcome to the New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, and it's a rare loss. It's not happened very often this season, but we have a loss to talk about, and there's plenty to unpack, to be honest with you. We'll try and keep it as upbeat and as positive as possible, but I hold no guarantees on that one. We have Danny is back with us. Thank you for joining us, Danny.
Hello, everybody. I just want to apologise in advance if we run over and we disrupt Peaky Blinders, because like Matt says, we do have a lot to unpack this evening.
Yeah, I suspect it will go. Make sure you just warning now, put Peaky Blinders on record, and then because we are going to go over the hour tonight. Will Daniels is back with us. Thank you for joining us, Will.
Hello, thanks for having me back. It's been a while, hasn't it? But must have done something decent to get an invite.
It's the clip from the Shrewsbury bus, Will. That's why we've brought you back.
Excellent. And we have the birthday boy, Michael. Thank you for joining us, Vic, on your special day.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's been a very busy day.
Has it? Yeah. We're going to sing happy birthday to you, but after yesterday, the last thing everybody needs is bringing down a few more peglets into our singing. So I'm not going to do that.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Well, fair enough. I've not heard either Danny or Will singing. Maybe brilliant singers.
Don't listen to my singing. The cat dying will be more audible for your ears than my singing. But anyway, raise a drink to Mick. Happy birthday, Mick.
Happy birthday, Mick.
Thank you.
That's the good news. The show done. Let's move on to yesterday.
Well, how is it good news? How is that good news? It's my birthday.
Birthdays are normally good news, aren't they?
Yeah, they might be, yeah, but...
Not every day you're 21, mate.
That's true. That's very true. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah. Anyway. For about 45 minutes yesterday, for longer than that, we were all but promoted. And then it all started to go wrong. 2-1 lost to MK Dons in what was the biggest game of the season. Fluffed our chance, like I said, to go 13 points clear with 10 games left. Now 7 points clear with 10 games left. And MK Dons do play midweek in the league while we don't. So we'll come on to league standings later on. Mick, it was really frustrating because I thought first half, I tweeted out from the New York Talk account at half time saying it was so comfortable. And in first half, we sussed them out. We pressed them to death. They weren't really hurting us other than a counter-attack here and there. We looked like at times we were toying with them a little bit. And that hurt us. The fact we were doing that hurt us.
Yeah, it did. I said to you about 10 minutes after the penalty went in that we need to kill them off now. They were rattled. Lewington got himself booked with his mouth. And they were rattled. And we just didn't kill them off, and we should have done. We needed that ruthless streak that we had earlier in the season, and it's not there at the moment. But I think I also said to you at the beginning of the game, we looked nervous, and I thought we did. I thought we were nervous throughout the game. Maybe the game's been built up a little bit too much, I don't know. But one, he had him in an hour after the final whistle, something like that. There'll have been a few home truths spoken, and I suspect that we might see a very, very different team next week. A very, very different performance. It's been said on social media over the last sort of 24 hours, this has been coming, and it has been coming. It's been coming for a while now. So now is perhaps a very good time for it to happen. It could have been done against another side, perhaps. We could have perhaps done with losing to Shrewsbury, quite honestly. But anyway, that is what it is, isn't it? But what I would say to you is that if in August I'd have said, right, we've got 10 games to go and we're 7 points clear of third, will you take it? I think you'd have snatched both hands off, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I suppose you're right. There was changes at the start of the game. The midfield three basically went back to normal. Barlasser, Rathbone, and Wiles. Woody came out, and Mattock. Did Mattock come in? Mattock came in for him essentially, didn't he? And then Wes Harding moved back to the centre while Chio moved back to the right. Ferguson came in on the left as well. And it felt, well, that, that's that's almost our strong, other than Woody and maybe Reg. Basically our strongest 11. I was quite happy, quite confident. And it were all right the first half. It weren't amazing, but we were a better team for me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, against a side like MK Dons, you need mobility in your back line. And I think that's probably why Woody didn't take part in the game. After a minute or so, when Troy Parrott went through on goal and obviously missed his one-on-one, I were a little bit concerned about the leadership at the back and the communication, which obviously reared its head for the first goal. And I guess for the second as well, to some extent. But overall, we picked, I thought, the right side on the day. And certainly for the first half, it worked really, really well. The problem for us was when MK then changed tactically to suit the game situation. And sadly, we didn't deal very well with that.
No, we didn't. Let's talk. Again, there is some positive news. Dan Barlasser with... I can't remember how many goals he's got this season, Danny, but a goal just 3 or 4 days after his son's been born. I know he didn't win the game, but still, I imagine, a special moment for him.
Yeah, I think so. And his missus tweeted out a picture of their baby watching the game, and it's like, bless him, he's learning how Rotherham operate really well. His dad scored, and then we bottle it, starting him young. Well done, Jade. But yeah, typical Barlasser penalty. He went for the power straight down the middle, and keeper stuck no chance. To be fair, it was a penalty, despite what MK's admin thought.
What?
Yeah, they were meant to tweet about going, you're falling in the box like he's hurt. It's like, mate, he shoved him to the floor and he looked like a man. It's a red card. But it looks like we needed the tissues in the press room after the game and not their admin. But anyway. Yeah. But yeah, I think Barlasser had another good game. I think... I don't know. It's part of the pack that looks a little bit jaded and fatigued, because we brought him off after 60 odd minutes. Yeah, 70 odd minutes. And I do think it's just tiredness now. I think we've played a lot of games over the last couple months. And I think it is just starting to show now. So I think the rest on Wednesday's needed. But great day for the Barlasser household. I think we were all screaming at the telly when he scored the penalty, weren't they? Especially Alison. I think Alison were doing laps around the house.
Yeah, well, let's go through some comments. Donna's only here for Mick's rant. She's got the popcorn ready. I just know what the rant's going to be about. We may get one. Andrew Kelly's with us. Thank you for joining us. J-Boy with a good one. We deserved to lose. Last time I saw us actually play well was Ipswich away, which was some time ago now. Jamie, don't mind losing. It's performance that's frustrating. Icky should be screaming at his defence to push out for the first goal. Played him onside. The Barlasser wanting the foul, no communication. Lots to unpack. Lots to unpack. Let's fast forward to the first goal from MK Dons. We're going to go back and forth on all topics. I thought it was offside. Now, the replays don't really tell you because of how the frames are, but I was absolutely convinced that it was offside.
It wouldn't have made any difference, would it? It could have been stood on goal line that linesman wouldn't get it. I mean, if Donna wants a rant, we'll talk about him. I think it was offside. My view is it was offside. Yeah. I've no evidence. You can't see it from the TV replays and everything else. But I'm basing that on the fact that, one, I thought it was offside, and two, in the second half, that very same linesman had the opportunity to give an offside where the offside player was literally within touching distance of him, and clearly offside, and failed to give it. I mean, it was ridiculous. He was two or 3 yards, probably 2 yards behind the last man. And literally the linesman could have put his arm out and touched him on the shoulder and didn't give it. So I would suggest he was probably offside. It doesn't make any difference at the end of the day, does it? It makes no difference at all because we've got to defend better. That's the bottom line. So, I'm not going to moan and say that we're lost because of, a Gavin Ward type decision. We didn't. We lost because we didn't defend well enough. But yeah, there is a suspicion he were off, but got to do better.
Yeah, Michael Fairbank suggests that Chio may have been playing Ronnie, and Bradley said it was in line, not offside. I was in line with the main stand valid goal. If it was, fair enough.
Fair enough.
If it was, there's big questions to be had. But Donald London's on your side, mate. 100% offside.
Yeah, like I said, it's difficult to tell, and you can't watch it back because the replay doesn't show it, and we weren't in line with it. So I'll take on board what people have said. But I if the linesman told me it were onside, then I wouldn't believe him. I wouldn't.
No, I know what you mean. No. And it was obviously goals change, games will, and that's a really obvious thing to say for anyone who doesn't watch football. It really sounds really obvious, but that 60 seconds, 90 seconds after that goal went in, it almost felt inevitable they were going to score. And I feel a bit sorry for Barlas. He does get caught on ball once or twice. It's just punished us, and that's what if we're looking to get promoted, this is what's going to happen last season. We've got to get a bit more wiser to if somebody loses it, yeah, he should have lost it, but we've got to do better after that.
For sure. I mean, just nipping back to the previous point that you made, Mick, yeah, I completely agree that, in terms of the offside, one way or another, I thought it were onside personally. But you've got to defend that so much better. And for those 5 minutes there, it felt like I was watching a Rotherham United side in the Championship where we have a dodgy moment and then for 5 minutes we completely fall apart. And that was the most disappointing thing for me. I guess my biggest question really on that is Harry Darling is the guy that scores the first goal there. Why is Ben Wiles marking Harry Darling? Should that not be a centre-back? I would question that from my perspective because he is someone that wins a lot of headers for MK in those situations. So I think personally we were set up incorrectly, but that's my opinion and I'm entitled to that. In terms of the second goal, first and foremost, Dan needs to get a shout from Icky or from a surrounding player to say that there's a man on. He doesn't get that. He should get rid of it, but he doesn't. And then the defending from there is nothing short of shambolic, to be honest, putting it politely. And we got what we deserved. It were a great finish from Mo Issa.
Good player, him.
Yeah,
looks a really good player, that lad.
Yeah, and this is why I say these are not the Championship team. They may well go up, but they have some Championship quality players. They will punish you for those mistakes, and that's what we knew was going to happen. And I suppose bearing in mind the mistakes we've made over the last few weeks, it's quite almost inevitable. There's questions over the defence, Danny. I know MK Dons didn't have many chances, but whenever they got us, we looked dodgy. We'll mention the chance after a minute or whatever it was, and the two goals and another incident or two. It was really strange. It would look like they'd not played together. This is Icky, who, up until 4 games ago, we were saying he was contender for player at season and was playing like he didn't really know his position very well. And I didn't think Matic had his best game at all. Harding was fairly solid individually, but as a 3-man unit, it didn't. Now, the obvious question is, why didn't Richard Wood play? But I don't think he played in the reverse fixture, and we were brilliant. And I think Will's right in what he said with the mobility was key against teams like that. But that it's down to the 3 guys on the pitch, and I don't understand where that performance has come from, really.
Yeah, like Will says, the mobility didn't call for Richard Wood in the back line, but in terms of how how they were as a cohesive unit, we did need Woody organising them and keeping them and effectively marshalling them as a defensive line, and we didn't have that. And MK have smelt the blood of that and then exploited it, but over the last few games, our defence has been a little bit wobbly. We've not conceded, but in terms of letting chances past them, we have been a little bit wobbly. It's like at Plymouth, we were a bit wobbly and somehow didn't concede, thanks in part to the heroics of Josh Vickers. Same with Shrewsbury. How we didn't concede against Shrewsbury, I do not know. Again, down to Josh Vickers and the post. Whereas today, we've come up against a team with a real quality front line, and they've effectively pulled the pants down, gone through us and scored twice with 10 men, which I think is a stressing point. 10 men, MK Dons, outplayed 11-man Rotherham. And to be perfectly honest, I thought MK Dons had an extra man on the pitch. I actually counted their players a few times, like, has one of them been sent off? Or have they just brought somebody on and no one's noticed? And they absolutely outclassed our back line. And I mean, this is one of the best defences in England we're talking about. They've completely pulled pants down and gone through us. And I think it is down to the cohesion between the three of them, which again called for Richard Wood marshalling them. But I don't know. A few people said it would come in. I mean, yeah, I see the point. But I think the way that we've lost sort of embarrassed ourselves a little bit, if that makes sense.
Just a couple of points on that, if I may. So, in terms of the performance and the fact that we've conceded 2 goals, I don't think we can be completely surprised by what's happened yesterday, because for a long time we've been giving up a lot of chances to a lot of sides, and MK are a good enough side to be able to take those chances. For me, the issue in the defence is concentration. It seems little lapses here and there are the things that are costing us. It's to be honest, it's probably down to the schedule. It's probably down to the fact that Michael Heckway has played pretty much every game of the season so far. And mentally, that is so difficult to do. And, I couldn't do it. So, hats off to him to be able to do it. And now having Reg coming back into that back line, Woody as well, is really going to help, I think, just freshen it from a mental perspective. But that was the concern and why I think yesterday probably happened. Just a couple of lapses in concentration, and against quality opposition, sadly, you get punished, and that's what happened for 5 minutes yesterday.
Yeah, same thing happened against Shrewsbury, to be fair, when their absolute thunderous strike hit the post. It was that concentration thing of not pushing out straight away, just that little holding back, if that makes sense. Like, we're not out to win the ball straight away. It's like, oh, ball's gone, we can, sit back a little bit. But it's that, like you say, Will, it's that mental concentration, and to keep up for a season is effectively inhuman. That's something that the best of the best do. But I think that's why Wednesday can't come soon enough. Just gives everybody a little bit of a rest, a mental switch off from the game at hand, and might even help Icky out regain his concentration as well.
Yeah. It strikes me as a bit strange as well, and this is down to fitness levels and illness levels in the midweek. But it seems a bit strange. This game would fail to make up. If Angus McDonald could have managed 90 minutes, this game would have suited Angus McDonald better than Tuesday night. I mean, MK Dons are a much better team. The concentration levels have got to be there, which for the most part, when Angus has been on the pitch, they are there. That feels like a much more sensible. You've got Wes Arden, who is not a natural centre-back, and Joe Mattock was not a natural centre-back, with Icky in the middle of who's played 1,000 million minutes this month. I'm not necessarily sure that they've got the minutes the right way around for Angus. I accept he can't play 2 games in short days at the minute. I accept that. That's fine. But I feel like this game would have suited him better than Mattock. Again, Mattock was okay and he was fine, but we needed the defence, like the concentration, to be stepped up, and that level of experience in that position, I think, would have helped Icky out, would have helped everybody out. Easier said than done.
Yeah, I think it would. I love Joe Mattock. I think he's brilliant. He's been a fantastic servant to our club. However, I think the switch up from left back, left wing back to left-sided centre half, he's not made that switch yet. He's good enough, and he's experienced enough to do that. But his positioning at times leaves a lot to be desired. There were a couple of times, certainly that chance in the first minute came down that side because he was out of position. I think I said to you sometime at first half, what's Joe Mattock doing across there? Somewhere just behind Chio on right hand side, putting in a challenge. The first goal came from a position really where that left-sided centre-back should have been. So I'm not having a pop at Joe Mattock. I'm not, because he's a cracking footballer, absolute great servant to the club. But I wonder whether the experience of Angus McDonald would have been a better call with hindsight. I wonder if that would have been a better call. And if we all had hindsight, then we'd all be managing Premier League champions, wouldn't we? You know what I mean? So, yeah,
it would. Yeah, we would. Yeah, very, very frustrating. But if that chance goes in first half, just for 44 minutes from Freddie Ladapo, if the air shot goes in, we're talking different game. That it could have got on to more. It just needed one more chance to go away and put them to bed.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at tactically what was happening in that situation, as Mick mentioned, Lewington had got himself a yellow card needlessly, and Scott Twine is a player that does not like going towards his own goal. So there was space in behind for Chio, up against Lewington to cause a lot of problems. And Ben Wiles's wonderful ball through in between Lewington and the centre back causes issues. And Ogbene squared it to Freddie, and sadly he's not been able to make contact with the ball. And it's those key moments that didn't go for us yesterday. I think if we go into half-time 2-0 up, it's a very, very different game, and that's what we needed to do. We gave them the opportunity to get into half-time, regroup, change their shape, which they did. And unfortunately that didn't go in, and that was one of the key disappointments from yesterday.
Yeah. And it's even more frustrating today because we sussed them out. Is I think we did it pre-game. We pressed them. They did what we thought they might have not done, and they continued to play around the back. And we really did suffocate them at times. We put them under so much pressure, and that, from a positive point of view, was brilliant. We were so good at it. It didn't result to many goals other than the one, but that was a really positive way for us to set up, and I enjoyed watching that part of the game. To be honest with you,
yeah, I think. The way MK were knocking it round the back, like we said on the podcast, it suits the way we high press. But the way that they played, it changed second half. It changed to a very aggressive style of football that I think that's the thing that's hit us. It's like, oh wow, this is a different team. They're going for it with 10 men, and then first goal was in, rattled us. Second goal, that's the thing that stunned us, and it took us until probably 75 minutes to mount a really serious attack after that. But going back to Freddie, he's turning into Mr. Sitter, because there's been a few times this season where the ball has been played expertly by Chio or by Wiles or whoever, and he swung his left leg at it and nothing's happened. He's kicked fresh air. If he takes it with his right foot, it's 9 out of 10 times it's a goal. But when he puts it onto his left foot, it's a bit, I don't know if it was this season or wherever, but there was a ball that was played across the 6-yard box, and he swung it, and I think it were either to equalise or to score winner. It might have been against Crew, maybe.
That's what Sky did, isn't it?
Yeah. And so I don't know. With Freddie, he's been in a really good vein of form over the last month. He was our top scorer, but it's coming to this month, swung his leg at it, and if it wasn't for the injury, I don't know how they'd set up with him. It's like, would that be a knock to his confidence anyway? Because he's swung and he's missed, because Freddie's one of them players where he hits a fantastic vein of form and then goes missing for a little bit. But it's very unfortunate with his injury, though. However, we could see a bit more of Georgie Kelly if he's ready. Because the front line will now be Smith and KO'd, aren't it?
Yeah, I said so. Jellian Simpson asks, what's the Freddie injury? Sounds like a quad injury. From Paul Davis' article, he's going in for a scan on Monday. Warren expects 2 weeks. Thereabouts anyway. Let us move on to some substitutions, because we always love talking about substitutions.
Nick, the floor is yours.
Obviously made 3 substitutions. The first one was Shane Ferguson for side 2-2, and more positive for me, Mick. I thought this was comfortably his best performance for the club. He was a little bit like Chio, but the end product was poorer. He was very direct. He showed his pace. It makes it very difficult for defenders going at him. And I don't think Ferguson was terrible. As it turns out, Ferguson was the one that had been ill all week. So that's why he came off so early. But aside 2-2, I was very impressed with him for what he did.
Yeah. He's a promising player, and he's still got a lot of work to do, though, in my view. It's great going forward there, without a doubt. His pace, and he takes players on, challenges them by running at them and into the box. Really creates problems for him. And his final ball's not great at the moment, but I put that possibly down to more of a lack of fitness more than anything else. My concern with him is that in that last, when he swapped over to the right hand side after Bowler had come on, we got a better view of him, and his positioning. We're playing the ball across the back, trying to find that opening, and his positioning is too far up the pitch, or he's too close to the defender. He's just not in the right position to receive that ball off one of the centre backs. Now, I don't know what that is. I don't know whether that's a bit of naivety, whether it's it's just a lack of fit. I don't know, lack of fitness or what, but I felt his positioning was poor, and I've noticed that a couple of times before. But to be fair, Chio was maybe that's just the way they're playing, where they're told to position themselves. Because Chio, I felt was not, whilst in a lot of space, was not really in a position to receive a pass. I don't know whether that makes sense or not, but yeah, he's a good player. He's fast, he's quick, direct, but he needs to work on his position and his defensive duties a bit more. But he's a real big promising prospect.
Yeah, he's improving, which is what we want. He needs to keep improving. I suspect we might see him on Wednesday, which we'll talk about in a minute. The second sub brought JJ on for Dan Barlasser. Now we changed formation, which we don't normally do, to be honest with you. We went 3-4-3, and I am not a fan of when we change formation. I think it sets us into a panic. We were already panicking, as it were, and I feel whenever we change formation, it's especially to only 2 central midfielders and 3 strikers, it just feels like we're panicking. It doesn't strike panic in the opposition. It doesn't feel settled. And I thought that Barlasser would have been a good guy to keep on, because he could have tried to unlock those balls in midfield. We then stopped playing through the middle whilst also not playing out wide at the same time. It was a really strange 15, 20 minutes at the end.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we didn't really play through the middle at all throughout that second half. And to be honest, I understood the substitution because an extra striker on the pitch, get a ball into the box, you've got an extra person attacking the ball. The disappointment for me was the quality into the box throughout the first and the second half simply wasn't good enough to how we want to play. We actually only put 28 crosses into the box yesterday, which is one of our lowest numbers, I think. So it felt like we were going against what we were trying to do. And I mean, a lot of credit to MK for stopping us from playing that way as well. I thought that they, second half, managed the game really, really well. And, Mick, you were talking about the position of Osei Tutu and Ogbenny at times. One thing that they needed to do was get into half time and then change the shape. So they went from a 3-4-2 into a 4-4-1, which then meant that they were able to get more bodies out wide, and they stopped that wide threat that we had. We then didn't use the middle when we had the extra man, which was disappointing for me. But also they dropped 10 yards as well. So any space that we had in behind the fullbacks just was non-existent. So listen, they managed the game really well, and we didn't react enough. But yeah, it's really difficult when you've got a team that are down to 10 men that sit 10 men behind the ball, and we didn't really move the ball quick enough. If I'm being critical,
So slow on it.
Enough issues.
Yeah, and Lee McGuire points out too much keeping possession and not confident enough to run or even push forward. No good putting 3 strikers on if you're not getting the service, like you mentioned, Will. Yeah, yeah, slow, laboured. It was just from side to side, and this is again, as football fans, if you move them side to side quickly, it disrupts their space and things like that. And we were doing the opposite of that. It was so slow, Danny, and I can't. It's one of those things that you will see happen not on a regular basis, but in football it happens. And you sit there watching it. We watch other teams do this. I think doing it slowly is not going to work. I know you're looking for the gaps, but if you're doing it that slowly, you're not going to get what you wanted to do. So why aren't you doing something a bit different? I know you talk about management. This has got to be a little bit on the players, I suppose, more than Warner, that they've got to realise you need to speed it up a bit. Go, like everything you were telling him to. Yeah,
definitely. And at times it was like watching Cha-Cha slide, because he slides it right and then slides it left, or MK10. And it was like, just move the ball quicker. I mean, it could be down to fatigue, tiredness, or whatever, but I think some credit does have to go to MK Dons. When they went down to 10 men, especially in the second half, they closed ranks very, very quickly in that 4-4-1 formation. And every time we got the ball in our back line, you saw the 2 rows of 4 in the midfield and the defence, and they just closed ranks and just stopped effectively us playing into space. And it didn't help that we were knocking the ball about very slowly. But they just put 2 brick walls in front of us effectively and suffocated our way of playing through the middle, which, like we said, we didn't really do anyway. But also playing it out wide. When it went out wide, you've got the wide midfielder and the wide defender straight on that attacker. And it was just we suffocated sort of the way they played in the first half, but they did the same towards the second half with 10 men.
Yeah.
And like Will says, they changed the formation and very, very efficiently changed the game. 2 minutes of madness, and it were enough for them. And then we were on the back foot. And I think bringing the extra striker on was kitchen sink football from us. It's put another attacker on, and then we've got, like we say, another attacking player going for the ball and going for the goal. The only thing that impressed me was Chio playing in a front line like he does for Ireland. That was interesting to see. A little bit more composure on the ball, and he could have made it 2-2. But in terms of the way we've operated throughout the season, to suddenly shift formation to a style that we're not really used to was something that did remind me of kitchen sink football. Just lump it forward, try and get a goal, rather than sticking to a strengths, which MK took away from us anyway, So MK are a good side. They've played us off the park, and all I can say is fair play to them. Just don't do it again.
Yeah, we've got to use it as a wake-up call. We've got to, and I'm sure we will come on to that in a minute. Cal Briggs of Make This One's for You. I think Bowler did decent for the short time he was on. I thought it was one of the few that put some really good crosses, and their keeper was very good at coming out to collect those crosses. I think that's maybe stopped us a little bit. But every time we've seen Bowler, I accept that he's got his limitations, but I like Bowler. He's got something.
Oh, there's no doubt he's got something. And you say he's got his limitations. Yeah, he's not as fast as Chio or Tutu. That's his limitation. He is a good prospect. I really like him. I'm really pleased we've got him on a permanent deal. He can put a ball in box, that lad. He's Mikel Miller-esque in terms of his crossing ability. He's impressed me every time he's played. I know he's a bit raw, and I know he's young and everything else. So he's got a lot of work to do to really get up to speed. But once he is up to speed, I think he's going to be a quality acquisition, that lad. Absolutely. One thing I would say, I was absolutely desperate for 2-2 to score the equaliser yesterday. Just so I could listen to commentary afterwards. It would have been fantastic, but it didn't happen, did it?
No, it didn't happen, unfortunately. Quick word on the referee. I don't know how quick this is going to be for Mick, but I'll start with somebody else first. It was a game of two halves from the referee. Well, I'll come to you on this one because I think he got the penalty decision right, and I think a lot of referees could have bottled that in the magnitude of the game. I think it would have been easy to say, I didn't see it. I don't think he did it. But it was a brave call. It was the right call. But in the second half, I thought he just fell into a sort of standard, not marshalling any time wasting, giving silly free kicks where he didn't need to. I felt like it was a real game of two halves for the referee.
To some extent, I agree with that. I think the penalty was a penalty. And I guess my only criticism of the penalty was I wish he wouldn't have gave the red card because it changed the game. But listen, it was the right decision at the end. I think we possibly could have had a penalty at the end of the first half.
Definitely.
Either from Rathbone, the tackle on Rathbone from the keeper, or a handball, when Freddie's flung something at it. And definitely second half against Ben Wiles. For Ben Wiles, sorry. To be honest, I don't buy too much into the referee having a bad game second half. Just thought that MK did what any team would do when they're 2-1 up. They slowed the game down. We didn't really react to it. We were a little bit petulant and gave away some very stupid fouls, a couple hands in the back. We didn't need to. And I think we created our own issues in that respect, but there were some iffy decisions. But overall, I thought the referee had a pretty decent game, to be honest. Maybe Mick disagree.
Go on, Mick.
I'm trying to think back as Will's talking there. I'm trying to think back of to that second half and any particularly contentious decisions that he made. I'm sure there must have been some. It did feel. I'm with you, Matt. It did feel as though that it was a game of two halves. He refereed us against Sheffield Wednesday. And coincidentally gave us a penalty in the first half, which wasn't a penalty. And then in the second half, my memory of that game is that he sort of realised probably it weren't a penalty and worked and gave a lot of stuff against us that he wouldn't necessarily have done. Looking back at yesterday, I feel he probably did the same. Although it was a penalty and it was a red card, he got that absolutely bang on right. If you take that incident for me in isolation, I thought as a referee he dealt with that absolutely excellently, really, really good. It was absolutely positive, straight in there, penalty, clearly a red card. Made it was really good bit of refereeing. So yeah, he did make some mistakes, and I'm with Will. That foul on Rathbone at the end of the first half by the goalkeeper, how that's not a penalty is just utterly beyond me. I mean, the ball is 15 yards away when the goalkeeper makes contact with Rathbone. It's out of play. It's not out of place. Sorry, it's dribbling towards the corner flag. It was a definite penalty. I guess
the other side of that possibly could be that Rathbone's not in control of the ball, and that's why he's not using it.
Yeah. Neither is the goalkeeper though.
Yeah.
So it's swings and roundabouts. I don't think the foul on Ben Wiles was a penalty. I thought that was a dive personally. I know everybody around me.
You also thought when Chio got barged out of play that weren't a foul at all.
I didn't think it was. No, I didn't think it was. I think both. I think there are times. Certainly with Chio on that occasion, he had been fouled. He'd been fouled a number of times and they'd not been given. And I think he just tried to buy one that time to see if he was going to get one. But anyway, I'm not going to rant about the ref. Yeah, he had some. He gave a few hours. He gave a few good decisions. He's a League One referee. You know what you're going to get. So we've got nobody else to blame apart from ourselves for that defeat yesterday. But we are now at the beginning of March, and that is only our 6th defeat of the season.
Yeah.
So listen, after everything, let's just keep things in perspective here, folks. We're top of the league, and if I go to you in August, Matt, come March, you're going to be 7 points clear of third with 10 games to play. Would you take it?
Yes.
How many hands would you snatch off?
I would snatch all your hands off.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm going to counteract that and say yes. Yes, you're absolutely right. You are 100% right. We're 7 points clear with 10 games to go. MK Dons play on Tuesday. They play at home to Cheltenham. We should fancy them. So the chances are that by the time we play again, they will only be 4 points behind us with the game in hand. Now, with next Saturday, which we'll preview later on, we've got Wickham, which we know how tough that's going to be. So if we don't pick anything up next Saturday or pick a point up, which would be a good result, I think a point away from home Wickham would be a good result, and MK Dons manage to beat Wigan, which is entirely possible because MK Dons are a brilliant team, we could find ourselves with 1 or 2 points off of third place. Which that's a doomsday prediction, but an entirely possible and plausible prediction. This is when we lose one game. That's where my mind goes because I'm a Rotherham fan and I know what can happen. I think we'll be fine, but if we'd have won, we would have definitely 100% been fine, and that's frustration.
That's the word, though. That's the word, Matt, though, isn't it? The word is frustration. That's all. It's not panic. It's not. Let's not just start throwing teddies out at court. I've kept myself off social media. I don't know what it's been like. I assume there'll have been some people calling for somebody to be.
There's been some absolute owlers on social media, mate. Some absolute owlers.
I bet there has. There's some right clowns on there, and they're absolute clowns.
My favourite one was about us bottling promotion now because we've lost to MK Dons. It's like, I mean, granted, yes, in the podcast, in the last few episodes, we'll be saying if we beat MK Dons, we're effectively promoted, which, yes, I agree was probably true. But it's that passive nature of being a Rotherham fan. It's like, yeah, but what if we lose?
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, mate, we've only just moved past the point in the season where we can count the number of league losses on more than one hand.
Yeah.
Since we lost to Fleetwood. Yeah. It's been five losses for the whole season and only 2 losses at home. Now it's 3. So, but yeah, I think a lot of fans have pressed the doomsday button of like, that's it. I can't see us getting X amount of wins for the whole season. But I think we need about probably 4, maybe 5 wins from our next 10. And
4 and a couple of draws will do as well, won't it?
Yeah, 4 and a couple of draws. And, for a team of this quality, that is probably doable. But it's now down to ourselves to not completely stumble and fall flat on our faces, to stumble but pick our sense up and keep going. You know, it's a marathon, not a sprint this season. And now we're into the last probably 200 meters of the race. Are we going to fall flat on our faces, or are we going to pick our sense up and go again? I think it's the latter, personally, because this team is one of the best Rotherham squads ever assembled in our history in terms of numbers. But yeah, I think what the main thing is, the MK result is a reality check. Teams can still beat us this season. We're not going to go, well, we haven't, but we're not going to go the rest of the season unbeaten, because teams will want to come and beat us. MK had that desire and they have done. But yeah, it's just calm heads needed. Don't get too carried away like the idiot who threw the coin at the linesman. Don't get too carried away about it all. Just keep your heads, keep going, support the team, make a little bit more home atmosphere, if I'm being honest, and then just keep going. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Can I touch on that, if I may? I thought the fans yesterday were absolutely dreadful for a team. I mean, I'm sorry that I have to come on a podcast and say this, but we were absolutely silent. And for a game of that magnitude, when, you know, the players, you know, really, really needed the fans I thought yesterday let them down, and really should have done a lot more than we actually did. We needed to get behind them. They played with fear, as Warney said. I think for me, the side was passing was mental. I think we needed a player to really take the bull by the horns. And for me, there was only really when Ben Wiles that were trying to be creative and look for solutions. But the crowd really have to get behind them. You know, we're football supporters by definition. We need to show that support to the team when they need that.
Yeah, 100%. There were nervousness from the players, and whether it seeped to the fans or seeped from the fans to the player, I don't know which way round it was, but that's what it felt like. Yeah, I completely agree. It was strange. I was expecting a really good atmosphere. I really was expecting the place to be sort of bouncing a little bit. Strange, very strange. Yeah.
It does. I wonder if it goes back to what we've talked about many times here. You know, about the way that football supporters in general are nowadays. You know, and you know, we're seeing when we're winning kind of approach to supporting a football club. I don't know. I'll just throw that one out there. I don't know whether it's a generational thing or what, but you know, it does seem that there's almost, as a Rotherham supporter now, when you look back at our season so far, there's that element of almost justifiable entitlement. You know what I mean? And when it's not going your way, if you're not, I don't know. It just feels
against Wigan. I know that under the lights, it is always different atmosphere. But the Wigan game weren't going our way, and I thought the atmosphere was much, much better. I know they brought more fans, and that does have an impact, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Frustrating, very frustrating. But we're going to move on. Well, we're not going to move on, actually. What we're going to do is a quick look at Manscaped, and then we're going to bring Dylan in, who's a fan for this week. We'll see you in just a couple of minutes.
Hello and Happy New Year from us all New York Talk. There's only foreigners, but Happy New Year. Also, from a Happy New Year from my friends at Manscaped, who very kindly decided to sponsor us. They're promoting their new product, the Lawnmower 4.0, which is kind of well known for reducing cuts and making it a lot easier to trim your balls. You can buy this separately or in a bundle called the Performance Package, which in that you get a ball toner, and ball deodorant, which are actually very handy because they're specifically designed for your balls. So they work very well. I highly recommend all of this. The lawnmower, it comes with a little light. Comes with a little light there that comes on when you turn the razor on. So it's very good. It comes with a little charging port, which is also a little holder. Yeah, I highly recommend it. I use it, and I highly recommend it.
You highly recommend it, Ben? You highly recommend that somebody goes to manscaped.com and enters the code NYT for free shipping and 20% off. So that's manscaped.com for 20% off free shipping using the code NYT. And Ben highly recommends it.
I didn't realise that it said still the Happy New Year on that advert.
Happy
I just
New
saw
Year.
that. Apologies.
It's a great advert.
Yeah. Dylan, you're with us. Thank you for joining us, Dylan.
Thanks for having me on.
So as we had with Matt a few weeks ago, we're going to continue bringing fans on every so often and just get you more involved. Thank you for joining us, Dylan. Let's start with a question you want to ask us all, another topic of conversation for us today.
Yeah, just to talk on, obviously, Freddie taking the knock on Saturday leaves us with very restricted striker options. Personally, I don't see Warney changing formation. I still see him playing with the two strikers, which does only leave us, but obviously with Will Grigg out, does leave us with Georgie Kelly, our only other option, who I'm not too clued up on his fitness levels at the moment, but it's a bit of a predicament for us. Obviously, I'd expect Smudge and JJ to start, and obviously we don't know how long Freddie is out for, but from the sounds of it, it's a quad injury, which could be a short time, it could be a long time. So, sort of, where do we go with the striker options?
Good question, Will. You're the fountain of all knowledge. Help us.
That's a big claim, mate. I'm not going that far.
Shall I just leave the room for this point then? You know?
Yeah, Danny can have that title. Yeah, I mean, we are a little bit short now, Dale. You're absolutely right, and hopefully George is up to speed, and we'll see a lot more of him. I've done my research, and I know that he's a guy that can add a lot of value to our top line. What I would also say is we've got Mikael Miller coming back, who's played up top for Hamilton as well. So, although probably not a first choice for us, if we were absolutely desperate, there's another option there. And I think, you know, his pace and power in behind could be a real weapon for us as well. So, Freddie's a goal scorer at this level, and it's disappointing to lose him. But we have got players in reserve that I think can take the flak. I don't know what you guys would add to that.
Chio's always an option. Michael Fairbanks mentioned here we may see Chio up there 2-2 with 2-2 on the right. And you mentioned earlier, Danny, Chio up top like he does for Ireland. So he's slightly different role than he does for Ireland, but he's like Will mentions, he's got the same tricks of the trade that Miller has. He just needs that composure, and he could end up being a good striker.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, the way he operates for Ireland is just offset from the centre forward. And they actually play in a two, so it'd have to be Chio and maybe JJ because he's played out wide whilst he was at Carlisle, so that's a potential. But I think Wednesday really will showcase how do we operate without our main strikers effectively, because I think Smith will be rested. So it could be a Kelly and Coyote up front. But I think the main thing with Georgie is that he's coming from part-time football in Ireland. I think there are only 2 or 3 professional clubs in the top division in Ireland. And I think it's Bohemians, Shamrock Rovers and Derry City, I think.
Dundalk in that one, or are they Northern?
Where, sorry?
Dundalk.
That's Northern Ireland's league. But yeah, so he's coming from not to knock the League of Ireland, but a lower intensity league in terms of running the ball and really keeping up your fitness for a game that you play as your job. So he's come in, and obviously he's not Miller's fit because of his lack of game time from November because their league stopped. But I think we could probably squeak out at least 60 minutes of him against Hartlepool, that's for sure. And then either bring Smith on or play someone else up top, maybe bring one of the young ones in, maybe Grattan, potentially bring him in for a bit, or even what's the other lad called, Greaves, bring him in as well. So we do have options certainly for the Hartlepool game, but I think in terms of league football, it'll be Smith and KO'd until Freddie's back, which hopefully will be 2 weeks. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think it probably will be JJ and Smithy. If I'm honest with you, you know, back in January we looked and Freddie had put in this transfer request, and he was going to go, and I don't think any of us were massively, with the exception of Donna, I don't think any of us were massively disappointed about it. Well, you know, because I felt, well, maybe I'm just speaking for myself. I felt that we were in a position to be able to replace him with JJ. I think can do the same job, possibly even better in terms of his pace, in terms of his work rate. His finishing, obviously, is up for debate at the moment. We've not had the opportunity to see, you know, how good he is at that. We brought Georgie Kelly in, and I'm with Danny. I think he's more than capable, surely now, of giving us 60 minutes or so. Interestingly, he's not been on the bench at all for the last few games. So I'm not really sure what the situation is there. Whether he's picked up an injury, an illness, or whether he's just that's how the cards have fallen. But then Freddie came back and obviously started playing really well and scoring the goals. But you know, we've seen it time and time with Freddie. You know, he does go in those phases, doesn't he? You know, and he's come back, he's banged a few in, and now he's starting to miss a few easy opportunities, and then he drops off. Then he comes back, works hard, gets his goals, starts missing a few, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? So maybe this is not a bad time for Freddie to pick up that injury from a Rotherham United point of view, not from a Freddie Ladapo point of view, clearly. And yeah, JJ will come in, and I think we'll see some more of Georgie Kelly. I'm not worried particularly about it because we've got goals elsewhere as well. As you've said, Mikel Miller's coming back. Chio can play up there. You know, it's not a massive issue in my view. It opens up another opportunity for other players. So
it just feels a bit panicky when in January we had 5 strikers. Now we're down to 3.
Yeah, but that's injuries, isn't it?
Yeah, it's football season, isn't it? Yeah,
exactly. You know, we got so lucky up to that point where we'd not had any long-term injuries, and it was always going to happen. You know, we were always going to get players dropping out for periods of time through injury. It's just inevitable. You know, you're not going to go through a full season without it. So, but we've got players coming back, as you said. So, I'm not too worried about it personally. But then I'm not manager.
No. Before we move on, Dylan, do you want to give us your brief thoughts on yesterday, the frustration and performance overall? We may have lost Dylan. Oh, Dylan's gone. We've lost Dylan. We'll get him back.
Oh, no. Questioning a dip there from Dylan.
I will try and get Dylan back. If he comes back in, I'll bring Dylan back in. Right, let's move on. That's 50 minutes, 52 minutes whinging, and I do feel a bit better having talked it out. It feels a bit better.
It's a bit like therapy, Matt. Is that what you're saying?
Do you know when I first started doing this? One of the reasons I started doing this podcast is because I get in my own head, and it bothers me for days at times. Our performance, I think, a bit of therapy. It does make me feel better when we talk about it, to be honest with you. So thank you, everybody. Thank you all.
No, I think the real reason is that your missus was sick of you moping on the settee. It's like, what's up with you, Matt? Football.
There is that. That's true. Now on to our first chance of Wembley visit for 4 years. We go to the Victoria Ground on Wednesday night. White's on a Wednesday night is frustrating, but that's another topic for the EFL to deal with. We did ref chat last week. I'll recap for anybody that wasn't listening. Bobby Madley will be the referee on Wednesday night. Yay! Yay! We'll remind everybody.
I'm not going to say it.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Anyone who knows Bobby Madley, you know. But I won't repeat it.
Dylan's back. You're with us, Dylan.
I'm back. A technical fault on my end there.
Good to know you're with us. So we're now looking ahead to Wednesday. How are you feeling, Dylan, for Wednesday? I'm unsure how I feel. Are you excited? All right. How are you feeling about it?
I've got mixed feelings. You know, it's a Pizza Cup game, but you know, I've seen a lot of talk on Twitter about people just saying drop the cup completely and focus on the league, which I think's a ridiculous shout. And at the end of the day, it's only an extra 2 games that Wigan will be looking to play anyway. And you know, midweek games where other teams have midweek games as well. So I think definitely keep on with the cup. It's a game that we can win, even with the sides that we've been putting out in the cup. So look to it maybe just to win the game and get to the final. I think the fans, definitely players, deserve that trip to Wembley. With the football we've been playing this season and the class that we've been, the players definitely deserve to lift the trophy at the end of the season. Albeit the pizza trophy, but it's silverware at the end of the day. So I think we've got to go for it for any other game, and try and win the thing.
Yeah, no, I do agree. Saturday's killed me a little bit. I was on the fence a little bit with Pete's Trophy anyway, and I just can't. I couldn't see past yesterday. That was almost our cup final, and I can't say. I'm sure Wednesday morning I'll be well up for it. I'll be really excited for it. But I'm just Saturday's killed my enthusiasm, Mick. Where are you on that scale?
I'm still where I've always been. I'm torn. I've been in a bit of a conversation prior to the podcast actually with Ian Bradley, who I've noticed who was in the comments, and Ian is dead set against this competition. He's absolutely. I mean, he's just. I can't explain to you how against this competition he is, and I get it. I fully get it. All these issues with the Premier League B teams and all this nonsense. I really genuinely do get why people don't like it. It's just outrageous, that side of it. But I'm not as principled as Ian, and I see the fact that if we win this competition, there could be, I don't know, somewhere. I'm hearing rumours of somewhere in the region of £1 million coming our way in prize money. So at that point, my principles are out the window, because if my club's going to get £1 million, well, hey, listen, I'll nail my colours to mass, mate. You can buy me. It's not a problem. You can buy my enthusiasm for a competition if you're going to give my club £1 million.
How much would it cost for you to go on a Wednesday podcast and do it seriously?
On a what?
On a Sheffield Wednesday podcast. If you're open to be paid, if a Wednesday podcast wanted to come and have you, how much would that cost?
Oh, I don't know. They won't be able to afford it. If they can't afford the rest of the pitch, mate, they're not going to be able to afford to get anybody on the podcast, are they? You know what I mean? Anyway, what was the question? What do I think about Wednesday? Or this coming
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Don't, mate. You'll trigger him on Twitter again. I had that misfortune the other day by pointing out how close our form was and how we're unbeaten, and the only game they've lost was against us. And they parked up in the comments like, "Lad, I didn't even tag you in it. Why are you here?" You know what I mean?
Listen, I hope we win. It'd be great. It'd be good to get that money into the club. I'm not interested in the competition, frankly, but. A Wembley win and a big prize fund would be great for us. It'd be great for the club. It'd be great for Tony Stewart to bolster coffers so he don't have to.
And put another trophy cabinet as well.
Yeah.
Danny and Will, I think you two will both be there. And I think there's only 700 tickets they've given us, something like that. It's not a lot of tickets they've sold us.
Mm-hmm. No, but we've sold them out, so that's all that matters.
That is true. Yeah. I've had some good days at Hartlepool before, going back to the 99 promotion with Guy Branston and Leo Fortune West with the goals. Potentially, Danny, another great night up in Hartlepool. Not many people can say that.
No, I mean, the only thing that's probably done myself in and a few away fans in is that we've gone from one end of the country to the other in the space of a fortnight. We've done Plymouth, a quick stop off in Shrewsbury, and now we're up north at Hartlepool. And I think Hartlepool's nickname's the Monkey Hangers, isn't it?
It is, yes. Do you know the story behind that, don't you?
Yeah, they hung a monkey for being a German spy, which is like, okay, fair enough. Yeah. But anyway, it should be a good game. It's probably our highest attendance in the Pizza Cup, all competition. I think the highest one was Cambridge in the quarter final. I think just about 2,000. Now we've got 7,000. The Victoria ground, but that's what you get when you're playing top of League One, isn't it? But yeah, it should be a good game. Nice to see a few other faces that we haven't seen much of this season. And I'm more looking forward to having a drink in town before getting on the bus, in all honesty. It's like, yes, get Saturday, blow away up cobwebs from Saturday, off we go again. Easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Dylan, will you be going?
I'm not going now.
Got the joys of watching it on Sky like
Yeah,
everyone else.
Or the watch along.
Or the watch along.
Or the watch
We're doing
along,
a watch along. Yeah, exactly.
The what?
We're doing a watch along in you, mate.
Are we?
Cup lad.
All right. Okay.
Probably, yes, we are. Yes.
Oh, God.
The last two meetings between Rotherham and Hartlepool have both been in the Football League Trophy, 2006-2013. This will be our fifth meeting overall in the competition. So we've won 3 out of 4 so far, which is all right. We'll tell me about your excitement, but then also how do you think we'll set up as well? What lineup do you expect to see?
Ooh, I mean, the second part of that question is difficult to answer, to be honest. I have absolutely no idea. But in terms of the excitement levels, it's a great opportunity for some silverware, isn't it? I know it divides opinions. I don't agree with the politics behind the trophy, and I think at times being in the trophy this season has hampered us from a fitness point of view, but also probably helped us from a momentum point of view as well. In some respects, good chance for players to go to Wembley that haven't been before. Always a great day when Millers go down to Wembley, and hopefully we can fetch back some trophy if we get there. It's a difficult one. On the night, it's 2 teams that are both going to fancy it. Wembley is the ultimate goal as a player, isn't it? So it gives you probably an extra 5 or 10%, but I've no idea what to expect. All I know is, I'm going to be heading there with 700 Rotherham fans, expectant, hopefully, that we can get to Wembley and have another great day there.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we can get there. Nice sunny day in April down on a Sunday afternoon will be lovely. But yeah, mentioned there about what I think. Dylan, it's basically darts at a wall almost picking this team. We know we're going to see some changes, probably quite a lot of changes. You'd expect probably to see Bowler in there. You'd expect probably a Duffin will start in the midfield. Victor will come in goal. Other than that, it's really difficult to pick the rest of the team or to know what Warner will pick as the rest of the team, I suppose, what I'm trying to say.
I think, yeah, definitely. I've enjoyed watching a Dauphin play when he's played this season, and I think, like you said earlier, Boller when he came on yesterday, I thought he was the spark that was missing from the second half. Apart from that, maybe a Georgie Kelly appearance. Hopefully, a Georgie Kelly appearance and a Victor appearance as well. I think they share the keepers do share a good relationship from a fan's perspective. So it'd be nice to see Victor back in the team as well, and just get some game time. But as far as the full team, I couldn't even hazard a guess with what Warney's trying to. If he's resting players or if he's going for this full on, I don't expect a full strength 11. But yeah, definitely a few changes.
Yeah, Danny, you've shown us your pad, so I assume you've got a lineup prediction for us.
Yeah, I think so. I think us sticking with 3-5-2 will probably upset Hartlepool because they've more or less played a 4-3-3 for the majority of their games, and it's done them all right. The 12th in League Two. Maybe mounting a late playoff push, 12 points off it at the minute, but we'll have to wait and see. But I think Hartlepool will be the same as us. They'll go all change as well. Maybe keep 1 or 2 major first teamers in, like maybe Featherstone, maybe Boggle. That'll be an interesting one because we were after him for a little bit. And then probably change their keeper and have Killip on the bench. But anyway, for us, like we say, probably Johansson will come in. Because now that Vickers is starting in the league, Johansson's made the Pizza Trophy his main outlet and he's done very well in it, to be honest. Maybe Wood will come in for a little bit of experience at the back.
I was thinking that. But you want to play him on Wednesday night when we've got to go all the way to Wickham on Saturday?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. But, if you've got Angus and Reggie either side of him, maybe Icky in the middle, but I think Icky probably needs a rest.
He does need a rest, yeah.
So I think Wood might just be de facto, potentially anyway. Bring a Dauphin in. for Barlaser, Ozzy on the right, Bowler or Miller, depending who's fitter, on the left, Wiles, Lindsay, then Kelly and KO up front. That's mine that I've gone for.
Yeah. Ian Bradley says, Victor, he sees, Ian Bradley in the comments says, Victor, Angus, Hull, Matic, who's 3, Adoffin, Lindsay, Wiles, Bowler on left, Tutu on right, Kelly and JJ. Jake Hull's on loan at
Hartlepool. Yeah.
Hull might be playing, but he won't, I don't think we're playing for us. But yeah, the defence is the question, really, I suppose. Midfield doesn't pick itself, but it's easier to change things up. There's a defensive question because can Matic play Saturday? Do you want to play Matic on a Wednesday? Shortish times between games.
Same question with Wood as well.
Same question with Wood. Yeah, exactly. Not ideal having to trek all the way up to Hartlepool on a Wednesday night to then trek all the way down to Wickham on a Saturday when we could have played on Tuesday. That's really frustrating from Sky. I assume it's Sky's choice. But what do we know? Let's go through some predictions. Mick has left us. I'll get one prediction from him later on. Danny, predictions for Wednesday night.
Well, I mean, the women's reserves have just won their semi-final 4-1, so why not?
I like your style. You think we'll concede away from home? Are you crazy?
I mean, we have conceded a fair bit in the EFL Trophy, especially after the group stage, but I don't know.
4-1. I like it. Dylan, if you get this right, you can win a street sign, a New York Stadium street sign from Donald London.
I'll go with 3-0 and a Dauphin strike from 40 yards.
There we go. He's due a goal. And he likes one at Papa John's, doesn't he?
Oh, he loves it.
Will?
Oozing confidence. I can't compete with that. I think it's going to be a little bit tighter with it just being one game away from Wembley. I'll go 2-1 Millers.
Cool. I like it. I'm going to go 1-1 again, like it was Cambridge, and a penalty shootout win.
Oh, Matt, no, I can't cope with another penalty shootout. My heart won't take it. I've seen all 3 of them this season, and every time I'm on the floor when it comes to the last penalty.
Jamie's with me. Jamie in the comments, draw, win on penalties. There we go.
No, my blood pressure's bad enough as it is. Stop it.
There's no extra time, which is good. That's something we certainly didn't need, is extra time. Thankfully, we ain't got that, like there was in the FA Cup. Steve Grundy thinks 2-0. Cal Briggs has gone big, 5-0. And Tip Top says 2-0 as well. This is the first semi-final we've had. Semi-final of the competition 2008-2009, which was an area final at the time. So we want a day at Wembley. You know, if we lose on, if one of those games, if we lose on Wednesday, we'll all be a bit disappointed, but we'll not be upset like we are at MK Dons game. But if we win, it'll sort of lift the mood, I think, a little bit. There we go. I think we're done. Thank you all who have watched, got involved. If you liked the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you haven't already, follow us on Twitter, Facebook. And if you listen to the audio, make sure you subscribe on Apple Tunes, Apple Music, or iTunes, wherever you get it from. Anyway, Spotify, all the stuff. You know where we are. If you aren't going on Wednesday and you're watching on Sky, or even if you're not watching on Sky, turn the volume down. Join us on here. Me and Mick will be doing a watch along. Which we'll try and make it fun. I don't know if it will be. Hopefully it'll be better than Sky though. It's been brilliant. Thank you very much, Danny. Pleasure to have you with us as always.
Yep, no worries. Just before we sign off, just want to give a shout out to Her Game 2 that was at the grounds on Saturday. I saw Jamie Noble and apologies, I can't remember the lass's names, going around with the special edition Rotherham women's shirt, which is what they're going to wear now with Her Game 2 on the front of it. So that was great to see. We had a lot of support at the grounds for that as well, with all the lasses there, because they paid for I think it was Whitehall girls under 14s. They got free tickets as well. So yeah, it's great to see the club supporting something like that. So fair play to the Millers on that one.
Yeah, it was. That was brilliant to see. Will, pleasure to have you with us as always, and we'll see you again very, very soon, hopefully.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good to talk Millers.
And Dylan, thank you for coming on for your debut episode, and again, we'll hopefully have you on again soon as well.
Thank you very much, and I hope to see you all at Wembley at some point in April.
Yeah, boy.
Fingers crossed. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you all next time. Cheers, guys. Freddy's on one-on-one. Freddy's turning shoot. Can take a shot. Yeah!